Okay, so keep moving through these questions. Outline how economic growth in a major trading partner might influence economic growth in Australia. Okay, so probably the most obvious thing that springs to mind would be the increase in demand for Australian produced products, which would lead to an increase in our exports and therefore increase in our economic growth. Other things that you could probably put in that answer is you could talk about growth in exports in trade, growth in foreign investment. You could also say growth in investment for export industries as well. That would be fine too. Okay, so next question. How will an increase in Australia's marginal propensity to save affect Australia's economy? So remember, marginal propensity is talking about additional income, okay, and save, all right? So not consume, we're talking about save here. So if people are going to save more, a smaller portion of each additional dollar earned is spent on consumption, okay? So they're spending less, saving more, okay? Smaller portion of each additional dollar earned is spent on consumption. And then the other thing you could also say is the multiplier effect of any change will be smaller. So if more people are saving, the amount of times it is passed through the economy or is multiplied will be smaller. Okay, so remember that's an increase in MPS. These are the things that can happen. You can talk about in your answer. Okay, all right, let's do this question here. An increase in investment of $5,000 increases the equilibrium level of national income by $20,000. What is MPC? Okay, so first thing we need to think about is our little formula, the change in AD times K equals the change in national income. All right, and we've got pretty much most of the important information we need to stick in that equation to solve to get MPC. Okay, so first step is to just substitute into the equation. Look what data you've got and see what you can do with it. Okay, so change in AD times K is the change in national income. So we know that the change in aggregate demand is 5,000, investment 5,000, times by K equals the change in national income, okay, which is $20,000. So we can put those two things. So what we're trying to find out now is what K is, what's the multiplier. So how we do that is simply 20,000 divided by 5,000 to get K. So that equals 4. 20,000 divided by 5 equals 4. So we've got our multiplier is 4. So now we can work out what MPC is. So I'm going to work out what MPS is first, which is 1 divided by 4, which equals 0.25. So if MPS is 0.25, that means that MPC must be 0.75. Okay, so there's our answer, C, 0.75. Okay, let's look at this next one. I know we've done this one in class, but I thought I'd go through it anyway just in case you forget. So the table shows selected data for an economy. Which of the following statements is true for this economy? All right, so let's work this out. First thing we need to do is remember our formulas for aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So Chris is getting X rate on Monday. He's our AD. Or he's our national income or aggregate supply side. Okay, Chris sucks toes. Sorry about that, Chris. Okay, so all we really need to do now is substitute the numbers that we've got into our formula, and then we can see what's happening and pick out the right answer. Okay, so let's start with what we've got. So first thing we've got investment. Oh, let's just go with the whole thing. All right, so we've got investment at 25. We've got government spending at 30. So we're just adding these up, plus exports minus imports. So 30 minus 35, you put all those in, add them up, and you get 50, okay? Now we need to do it for the other side, this side here, the Chris sucks toes side. Okay, and again, we've got S, which is savings, which is 30, plus T, which is taxation, which is 20, which also equals 50, okay? So aggregate demand over here equals 50, aggregate supply over here is 50, or national income is 50, okay? So what we can say is that the answer is D. The economy is in equilibrium because aggregate demand equals aggregate supply. Okay, so here's another multiplier question. They love to ask multiplier questions, okay? Table shows selected data for a hypothetical economy. What is the value of the multiplier? Okay, so we're looking at our table. We've got a consumption, a savings, and an investment column. Okay, what we don't have is white. We don't have national income. Okay, so that's the first thing that we will do. All right, we're going to calculate what y is, so then we can work out what the multiplier is. Okay, so remember, y equals Chris sucks toes, and thankfully we've got our information to solve for that. All right, so I would just add on a little extra column and add it up. So 100 plus 50 is 150. So we're just ignoring I at the moment. We don't need it. Okay. Year 2, 200 plus 150 is 350. And in year 3, 300 plus 250 is 550. Okay. So we've got our national income data now, national income column. Okay. So step 2, now that we've got that, we can calculate the multiplier. Okay. So remember, calculating the multiplier, we can use this equation, change in AD times K equals the change in national income. Okay, so let's have a look. 200, okay, the change in AD, which is here, which is consumption. So how I got the change is 300 minus 100, okay? So the change from year 3 to year 1 is 200, okay? Times K, we don't know what this is yet, equals the change in national income. Same deal. How'd I get 400? I did 550 minus 150, which equals 400, okay? So we had to work out the change. So AD, 300 minus 100 is 200. 550 minus 150 is 400. So now that we've got that, we can figure out what K is, okay? So we just need to, again, divide. K equals 400 divided by 200 and equals 2. All right, so the answer here is D. The multiplier is 2. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Pretty easy one. Some of them are easy and some of them require you to fiddle around and swap, bits and pieces in the equation. Okay, so let's look at this one. A hypothetical economy has a simple multiplier of 2.5. Calculate the change in national income that would result from an increase in investment of 100 mil. Okay, so this is good. We already know what the multiplier is. It's 2.5. Okay? And they've also told us that the change in AD, which is here as investment, is 100 mil, all right? So we've got two bits of information. 100 mil, the change in aggregate demand, which is 100 mil, times the multiplier, which is 2.5, equals 250 mil. All right, so that's the answer there, 250 mil. That's a nice, easy one. And you don't seem to see those very often, but yeah, that's a good one to get. Okay, let's look at the next question. The graph shows aggregate demand and aggregate supply for an economy. Okay, so we're looking here at our little table. All other things being equal, which of the following is most likely to shift the aggregate supply curve from AS to AS1? Okay, so it's having a look at our original, okay, and then we're going to have a look at our change. All right, so what we can see is that price level's gone up and real GDP has also decreased, okay? So what we do need to consider, this aside, okay, is what are the things that shift the supply curve, okay? And things that shift the supply curve are wage rates, the price of other inputs, the price of materials going to what you're producing, technology, and the available supplies of capital and labour. Right. So if we know that these things are the things that shift the supply curve, we can have a look at our answers. So no. So an increase in the economy's national income, nope. Decline in inflationary expectations, nope. So we can rule all of these out because it's not one of these things, all right? These are the things that shift the supply curve. So it has to be A, an increase in unit labour costs. Okay, so the answer is A. All right, so obviously the price of labour has gone up. It's making things more expensive. Price levels go up. It's also decreasing our real GDP. All right, so let's have a look at this one. Which of the following economic objectives can best be achieved simultaneously with economic growth? Okay, so if you just read the little blurb I've got down there, it's just saying that all economic objectives cannot be satisfactorily achieved at the same time, okay? So some conflict and some are complementary, okay? So if we have a look at our conflicting, we know that economic growth and external stability aren't complementary. We know that price stability and economic growth are not complementary, and also environmental quality or sustainability that they've got here. Okay, so the only thing that we can see that is complementary is increasing employment. All right, and it says it just here. Complementary economic objectives may include low inflation and external stability, economic growth, and full employment. All right, so the only thing that's complementary with economic growth in our list of options is C, increasing employment. All right, so we'll go through these ones pretty quick as well. This one here is a nice and easy one. Okay, so calculate the simple multiplier for an economy in which the MPS is 0.25. So remember, K equals 1 over MPS. All right, so 1 divided by 0.25 equals 4. So that's an easy one to mark, right? Simple multiplier is therefore 4. Whoops. Okay. How does the multiplier process increase national income? All right, so this is pretty simply speaking, but an initial increase in spending can cause further rounds of spending, okay? So therefore, the final increase in national income is greater than the initial spending, or you could say injection of money, okay? So it can cause further rounds of spending. Final increase in national income is greater than the initial injection, okay? All right, let's just have a look at C as well. Outline one effect of economic growth on an economy. So you could talk about the effects that economic growth has on living standards, the effects it has on inflation. You could also talk about the effects it has on unemployment.